Let's start this meeting, my friends. Today's meeting is a Friday, January 22nd, 2021. UDOT Commission meeting. I called it in order. And let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please all rise and face the flag behind my desk. If you don't mind, I will order the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. As usual, I have to read the disclaimer for the electronic meeting by legal law. As you remember yesterday, Jim Palmer said we have to do it. The January 2021 meeting of the Utah Transportation Commission will be conducted electronically, will only be accessible by electronic means. There will not be space or facilities to attend the open portions of the meetings in person, as the chairman has determined that an anchor location presents a substantial risk to the health and safety of those who may be present at the anchor location due to the ongoing state of emergency related to COVID-19. The chairman has determined that an anchor location will gather interested parties and members of the public in a single confined location where the risk of the further spread in COVID-19 are greater. Interested parties may access the live broadcast of the meetings at youtube.com/UtahDOT. So that is that. And for the record again, we're going to start the introduction. And let's start with the commissioners on the order of the priority. Start with the Commissioner Barlow. State your name and the responsibility that you have, please. Unmute yourself. Wayne, you need to unmute yourself.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
I'm Wayne Barlow. I live in Fish Haven, Idaho, or Logan, Utah. And I represent Region 1, which are the 6 northernmost counties in the state, beginning with Box Elder on down through Davis County.
Thank you. Commissioner Kramer.
Luke Kramer, Commissioner at Large. I have the pleasure of living in lovely downtown Salt Lake City, and it's great to be with you this day. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Long.
I'm Donna Law. I am a commissioner at large, so I get to represent the entire state, and my home is in Cedar City.
Thank you. Commissioner Evans.
Thank you. Jim Evans. I live in Orem. I represent Region 3, which is you have watched Utah County all the way across to Daggett County, and it's great to be here with you. But I'll tell you, I look forward to when we can be together again with all of you and be in person and be around the regions of the state. But this will do for now. But boy, I'm looking forward this year to getting together again in person.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah for that. Commissioner Van Tassel.
Yes, Kevin Van Tassel. I live in Vernal, Utah. I'm a commissioner at large. Jim, we'll have to go back down to Ray's Tavern and have a hamburger when we're
I'm longing for that day, Commissioner Van Tassel. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Gardner.
Good morning, Natalie Gochner. I'm a commissioner for Region 2, Salt Lake and Summit counties, and I'm coming to you today from the Jordan Commons in Sandy, Utah. I'm in a room all alone, so I'm glad to see all of you. I'm in a holding room for something else, but it's good to be with you this morning.
Feeling is mutual, my friend. Thank you for being here with us, with all the busy schedule you have. Thank you. And my name is Nagi Zinari. I have the privilege of serving as the chair of the commission, and I'm chiming in from cool, overcast St. George today or this morning. We also would like to recognize and welcome our dear friends from the Federal Highway Administration, Ivan Marrero and Brigitte Mendel. Welcome. Good to have you this morning. No, let's see. Terry, you're going to introduce our UDOT family this morning? You need to unmute yourself, Terry, please.
I'm actually going to ask Lisa to introduce her group. I'm not going to try to do what Carlos typically does, but I will go ahead and introduce my group and then hand off to Lisa. So we have Ben Hewitt, who is our program development director. We have, go down the list here. We have Eileen Barron, who's communications manager for planning and investment. We have Eric Rasband, who is the planner for Region 2. We have Barthold, of course, who is our commission assistant. Ivan Hartle, the programming director. We have Jordan Lee in technology and innovations, and anytime we have a problem, he's there to help. We have Carrie Ann Noble, who's also technology and innovations, making sure everything's running correctly here today. Let me see, we have, keep going down the list here. And I think that is it for my group. So I will hand off to Lisa.
Good morning.
Okay, I'm gonna apologize right now for anybody I miss. So we have Brad Palmer, the Region 2 Program Manager. Brett Slater, the new Region 1 Program Manager. Charles Stormont, our Right-of-Way Director. Cheryl Hirsch-Simmons, our Chief Structural Engineer. Grant Potter with our Communications Group. Kate Roberts, the Region 4 Program Manager. Chris Peterson, our Project Development Director. Nathan Peterson, our Region 2 Deputy Director. Rick Torgerson, Region 4 Director. Rob Clayton, Region 3 Director. Rob White, Region 1 Director. Robert Stewart, Region 2 Director. And Troy Peterson, our Operations Director. I think that's everyone.
And Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I left somebody really important off the list. Bob Pelly is also in the meeting. So,
Well, that's his fault. He should have had the Christmas jacket, so we should have recognized him.
sorry about that, Bob.
Welcome everyone, and welcome all those that attending and joining us by way of the YouTube or other means of the communications. I would like to also mention and congratulate all those that were awarded. Remember, for those of you attended every year, we had the conference, UDOT annual conference, and they always select individuals or groups for different categories and award them. This year, unfortunately, we did not have that meeting or annual conference, but UDOT still had these selections, and there are a group of people, individual categories and group, and of course, companies, they got awarded. So on behalf of Commission and UDOT family, congratulations to all. In our books, everyone is a winner, regardless of receiving the award or the plaque or not. So thank you for your service, and thank you for being part of this wonderful organization. Thank you. Anything else on that category, Terry or Lisa, that I need to go before we start the meeting? Okay. Now, item number 2 on the agenda is Federal Highway, and Ivan Morero is going to be the one presenting that item. Go ahead, Ivan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, Commissioners. I'm Ivan Morero, the Division Administrator for the Federal Highway Administration Division here in Utah. And it is my pleasure today to bring a few items from the federal side to the Commission's attention. I will try to present and see how it goes. My entire screen. Okay, let's go with that one. Okay, so wait for it to come up. We had our can everybody see my screen now, my presentation?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I have a few items for you today, mostly money related. We had our appropriations bills signed, and so the money is starting to flow in. I'll go through a few of them here for you. First of all, this is a small amount of money, but I think this is still a very important program we have. It's called the Technology Transfer Program. Basically, we have this program available for the states to help transfer technology. So we use the money for for example, right here, Utah was selected to receive $5,000 of these two programs. So we will be conducting either peer exchanges or data data sharing with these states that you see listed here for the rolling density meter and for the multimodal transportation. So these are two technologies that we are promoting, and the funds will be used for UTA to coordinate and visit some of these states. I think would most likely do it virtually to learn more about these two different technologies here. The second one, a real quick one, UTA received a $200,000 grant for the for this work zone X demonstration, and so this is something that they will be able to utilize to continue with this program, and it has to do with work zone and the way they're set up and the communication between the vehicles and the work zone sites and stuff like that. So again, $200,000 available for that program. And the other grant that they received this month was $5.4 million for the Advanced Transportation and Congestion Management and Technologies Deployment Grant for the Utah Broadly Connected project. And there's all the details, but again, this fund's available to help introduce technology into management of traffic and reduce of congestion. So looks like we have a pretty aggressive project here that includes several districts and several communities and corridors. So again, $5.4 million available for that effort.
Excuse me, Ivan, your screen changed. Your slides aren't showing right now.
Oh, they're not sure. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. I gotta move it over here, huh? Okay, how's that?
Yes, wonderful.
Good. Didn't realize moving it made a difference. Okay, good. Thank you, Brigitte. We do, like I mentioned, we did get our Appropriations Act signed, so that means that the federal funds will are becoming available. So the big one is our obligation limitation for this fiscal year. So nationwide is $46 billion. So the share that will be coming to Utah for this year is $331 million. And these funds they're in the book so that Utah can go ahead and start using those funds. We also had another thing we do. We go through, and if there are funds out there that may not look like that they're not going to be used, we use this process that we can kind of take some funds back and redistribute them to states. So we have about 2.5 million that Utah will be receiving from that effort for under this program. And then we also had under the Appropriations Act, they set aside money for the bridge replacement program, and also for the this is called it's $640 million that can be used for either your regular highway projects, or if you want to put them towards some of the alternative fuel vehicles, charging stations and corridors like that. So that money is also eligible for that. And also $1.1 billion of that can go towards that bridge replacement and rehabilitation. So it's two buckets of funds. Utah's share there is 5.6 for the Section 133B funds, which is your typical highway project, and then 13.6 million available for bridge rehab and replacement. And the bridge, the Section 133 funds are also sub-allocated to these areas down here based on population. The other Appropriations Act we had was the Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriations Act, also known as the stimulus, the COVID stimulus package. And that one provided an additional $10 billion for infrastructure. So the money can be used for your typical highway project, but it also provides what we're using the term special authority. So these are type of activities that normally wouldn't be eligible for federal highway funding. So we have routine maintenance, operations, salaries of employees, not only from the state, but also from contractors, debt service payments, availability payments, and other revenue losses types of payments. So this money is available now. Utah will be receiving 86.1 million, 70 million of which is can be used anywhere, and then we have about 16 million or so that is sub-allocated to the areas that I show there. Basically, these are the MPOs. So Ogden and Layton get 4.2, Orem get 3.7, and Salt Lake City, West Valley get 8 million under this program. And again, this is money in addition to your regular federal aid allocation.
Is this where we get really excited and say thank you, Ivan?
Oh, we can say thank you to your
That's a lot of money there.
It is about a quarter of your federal allocation. So and it's very flexible money that can be used in a lot of ways. So yeah, hopefully I'm sure you not gonna have any problem putting that money on good projects. Yeah. And then finally, with the new administration, we have new leadership coming into our agency. We did get a note this week that Stephanie Pollack has been selected as our deputy administrator. The deputy administrator doesn't have to go through the congressional confirmation process, so usually those are the first people that are named by the administration. So she's got a good transportation background in Massachusetts, as you can see there. So very excited to have her as our new deputy administrator. So, and that's all I had today. I'm sorry I went so quickly, but I had so many different slides. I didn't want to take up too much of your time. But if you have any questions on anything I presented, I'd be glad to answer your questions.
I just have a comment, Ivan. Whatever tie you're wearing, wear it every time you come to report. That's a lucky tie.
That's my lucky tie. All right, I will keep that tradition going then.
Please, because anytime you have that tie, you're gonna give us a good news like this, by all means. But I've been telling everyone, 2021 is gonna be the great year. As you can see, Ivan's already started the year with that kind of positive and good news. Thank you, my friend.
You're welcome, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Any question from Ivan or Brigitte, for that matter? You do such a fantastic job. Nobody wants to ask questions. Terry, you had a comment?
Mr. Chairman, if I may just say, to put in context a little bit, we have the 70 million coming in from the federal funds, but just want to remind everybody, we do have the transportation fund that has come in low for FY20 since gas tax revenues have been down. So I think one of our first orders of business will be to take care of that shortfall and then figure out where the rest of the funds go. So just, that's something we'll be talking about when we get to our programming workshops in March and April. So we'll have some ideas laid out and show you how that money will fit into our projections going forward.
Thank you for that, Terry. Okay, item number 3 in your agenda is UDOT grant update. I think Ben Hewitt was going to be reporting on that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, commissioners.
Good morning.
I will share my screen and go over the grant update. Let's see. Okay. I'm just navigating to the Transportation Commission website and then under grant information. So it's been a little bit since we've done a grant update, so I've got some status updates that I can share with everyone. The top grant item in our color-coded yellow is a pending grant application. So that is one that is a aid grant in our digital delivery area in project development that we are still, we've talked about this one a little bit before. I believe it's almost been a year or so since we talked about this with the commission, and it's still pending pending award on that one. Next on the list, there's a couple grants there. One is the build grant for the 90th South project that we applied for, and that was not awarded. UDOT was not one of the awardees on that grant program. And then the next one was a project that we have some involvement in with UTA and others. And UTA was the applicant on that one, and that notification came that UTA was not awarded that grant. That was a Chrissy grant for the Sharp-Tintic Railroad connection. So now that we've got the not awarded out of the way, we'll start the good news, the UDOT awarded grants. So the first one here is a State Transportation Innovation Council grant, or STIC grant, for in the UDOT structures area, and it was a $100,000 grant for mobile inspection applications for emergency bridge inspections. So that program is something that we consistently apply for, and we've been very fortunate to get multiple STIC grants over the years. The next two on the list are the ones that Ivan mentioned in his presentation. The first one, a $200,000 grant for the Work Zone Data Exchange project. And then the next one is the Utah Broadly Connected grant that Ivan mentioned, the $5.45 million grant in the operations area. So those two in specific, we'll be discussing those in context in the programming workshops as far as the traffic management program and how they fit within that program and funding. And then I just will note a couple, this has been an interesting week because there's been two very recent notice of funding opportunities in a couple grant programs, a couple large grant programs, the Infrastructure for Rebuilding America program, or INFRA, and then the BUILD program also. So those just came out. I mean, you can see here, the INFRA grant came out on the 15th, the notice, and then the BUILD grant came out earlier this week, the notice. So we are gonna take a look at those, look at the criteria, try to identify projects, and see what might be a good fit for what we should pursue on those grants. Are there any questions that I can answer on any of these for the grant update?
None, I guess. Well, you do a fantastic job, Ben. You don't want to get any questions because you do always good job explaining your position, your grants, your programs. Thank you.
It's always
Thank
nice
you.
to have good news.
Yes, always.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Ben. Rest for a minute because you're going to come back, I think, later on. Item number 3 in agenda is UDOT scoreboard, and Cheryl Simmons and then Troy Peterson, we're going to be hitting that discussion.
All right, good morning.
Cheryl.
I'm going to share my screen and navigate you to the project delivery dashboards here. So again, from the UDOT homepage, we come down to the strategic direction. We go to our tactical measures, Transportation Commission, and I'm going to cheat because I already have it loaded. Well, I thought I had it loaded. It'll take a minute to, there we go. So planning to just kind of go through this fairly quickly. It's been fairly consistent. Not a lot has changed over the last month. As you can see, this first table gives us an overall summary of our project delivery status. We still have 2 projects that are past due, past when we assumed that they would be able to advertise. We have 9 within the next 2 months advertising, and we have 92 coming just a little bit more than 2 months out. So performance, again, our goal is 85% advertised on time, and continuing to hold that outstanding number of 95%. So again, kudos to the project teams for their on-time performance. During these times, it's especially incredible. And this fiscal year, so since July 1st, we've advertised a total of 85 projects. This next table kind of gives you an update of what has advertised to date. We can see I sorted it by the advertisement date. So far this year, we've already had 5 projects that have advertised. The orange is just an indicator that it was beyond when we had expected to by just a little, but the team was a little overzealous in assuming they would do it on December 22nd. So lesson learned, that's probably not the best time, but incredible that they got it out right at the beginning of the year. So wasn't far off. This advertising status, another look at the information. So in summary, the green and yellow gives you the projects that have advertised, and the blue is the projects that are in some sort of design phase, whether it's scoping or design. The red, those are the 2 projects that we mentioned are still a little behind local government projects that are working through some issues. And then I'm going to go down to this one. This one just basically shows the health of the program. This black line is the actual number of contracts that we have active. For January, if I hover here, you can see that the sum of the contracts paid 1.5 billion, and we still have remaining 1.1. So again, you can see over the last several months that's kind of held fairly steady. And then this last one, if it loads, it's the contractor payments totals. And there we go. And you can see, we're still early into January, so we anticipate this number to grow when we report next month. But again, we've been very, very steady, healthy, exceeded last year in our payments to our contractors, which again, kudos to what we've been able to accomplish. Any questions for me?
Cheryl, I'm still giving you kudos for the beautiful bridges in Nephi. So it's going to take me a minute to adapt to this new role for you, but thank you for sharing the information.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Troy, you're up.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Good morning. Thanks, Mr. Chair, and good morning, Commissioners. I'm Troy Peterson. I'm the Operations Director here at UDOT, and I'm going to provide an update today on the strategic direction goal of 0 fatalities. So similar to Cheryl and Ben, I'm going to share my screen here. And you should be seeing a UDOT homepage. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. I'm just the reason I started here is just to follow suit and kind of show you how to get to the strategic direction. And so if you scroll down on the homepage, clear the bottom on the left here, so here's the strategic direction. Make that click. It'll load our strategic direction website. I think there we go. And we're going to focus on the strategic goals portion of that. Wow, maybe. There we go. Nice. You should be able to. You should see the. What I'm excited to show today is a new graph on the website here today for it's our fatality rate. You've seen this before occasionally on previous commission updates. Both Robs, I think, have both presented on this in the past. But what I'm excited to show is that we've got this now on the website that we can actually refer to it and look at that on an ongoing basis. The one thing I'd like to point out I'm not so excited about is to be able to show the results of the rate that is it's gone through this last 2020. You'll notice in looking at the graph that we had a pretty good trend going for a number of years where that fatality rate was going down. 2020, among other things, has we've seen that increase in that fatality rate from from the increase in number of fatalities, as well as a decrease in the amount of in our vehicle miles traveled, or VMT, for the year. So I'm gonna focus on now is I'm gonna jump down and we're gonna look at the numbers for the traffic fatalities themselves. As we look at these numbers on the traffic fatalities, currently we're projecting that these numbers would be correct, but there's always a potential that something may show up that changes these. But we're very confident that numbers we've had. I know our team worked extremely hard to validate all the numbers and whatnot. So one thing I always want to point out as we get rolling here, I'm going to hover over 2021 because we're 20 days into January of 2021, and we're already at it's a number that I hate to even to talk about, is we're at 17 fatalities already on our roadways to begin the year, which is not something where we want to be excited about at all. We'd want those numbers to be a lot lower. But I want to focus a little bit on looking at last year's number. I'm going to hover over 2020. And to remind you that our goal, or our target, not our goal, our target, what we set each year is a running average, or a 3-year average, and we take those numbers and we reduce those by about 2.5% to set that target, and our goal to try and reduce fatalities to get that goal to 0. This last year in 2020 was not one of our better years as you can see, and we're looking at the number is 282 for 2020. One of the things I'd like to do is maybe just take a minute and show you a couple of graphs to kind of break down those numbers a little bit and talk about what those are. And so I think it's always interesting to see how some of those break down and some of the data that we have, and try to get you in the mindset of what some of our experts here go through when they try to look at things. First thing I want to talk about is the vulnerable users, which comprise our pedestrians, motorcyclists, and bicyclists. In 2020, you'll see that we had 37 fatalities as pedestrians, 44 for motorcyclists, and 8 for bicyclists. You'll notice for the bicyclists, that's in the 3 years that I'm showing here, it's an increase every year. Motorcyclists has been up and down, and same with the pedestrians. I want to jump over to just some other data, just to give you some better look, some of the conditions we look at, and some of the trends that we try to investigate. And one of those that kind of stood out, we've got lots of information here at our disposal to look at, and one of those is looking at the urban versus rural fatality breakdown. And when I look at this graph, you look at the urban number here of 172, which is a rather, an increase that than what we've seen in the last couple of years. Something that sticks out in my mind. And let me jump over to fatalities by route. There's another category of how we look at the data. And one thing I want to point out here is you look at the trends here for the fatalities by route. And when I say by route, this is a state route versus non-state route. And I'm looking at 2020, and you'll notice there's kind of an uptick in the number of fatalities for on non-state routes, which is another indicator that not an indicator, a trend we're looking for. Do we know, one of the questions I keep asking myself is, do we know why this is happening? And the answer to that is we really don't know exactly why this is happening now, but this is a great indicator for us to start looking for why things are occurring there, because there's a lot of circumstances that could be leading to that, to the increase. And so we have opportunities to collaborate with our local partners when it comes to non-state routes, as well as the urban side of things, and see if we can't look for opportunities to make improvements and improve our education on those. I'm going to jump back over to the performance measures here and talk about our our serious traffic injuries and our traffic crashes. One thing I want to point out here on the traffic injuries is we do see a little bit of a lag in getting the data. It takes us a few months to get those that information in. You'll notice we show about a 3-month lag. Our goal for both the serious traffic, I keep saying goal, but I mean target. Our target for serious injuries is taking the 3-year average, similar to what we talked about in the fatalities, and reducing that by 2.5%. As with the fatality number, our serious injuries are also up in 2020, above our target. So something we'll keep keeping our eye on, looking for trends there as well. When it comes to traffic crashes, they're same information. We're lagging about. We could be a couple months before we get all the numbers in, but it's looking like we're going to meet or exceed, I should say, do better than our target on the traffic crashes. So we'll keep tracking those, but that looks to be tracking in a good number for us. And I just want to kind of remember that, remind everyone that when it comes to these traffic crashes, that human behavior is linked to 94% of all crashes. And a reminder that decisions we make behind the wheel have consequences. And so in closing, I just want to remind everyone to practice the 5 safety driving habits or behaviors, and remind your loved ones to drive buckled up, alert, focused, calm, and sober. So with that, if there's any questions.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, please.
Troy, just a comment. I know how difficult it is to try to speak to these things in a way that doesn't sound insensitive. I was interested reading one of the AASHTO journals, and it talked about the fact that fatalities have increased 13% across the country during the last quarter of 2020. So obviously this isn't a trend just in Utah. It's a national trend. So are we able to learn anything from colleagues from other states? Or I love that you're giving us this charge at the end to say these are the things that you need to focus on. Love, Troy, and something we probably all need to do more of. Yeah, you're right, Donna. There are the fatality rate is. I saw a report through the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, and they put out a report that for the first 9 months of the year that shows that fatalities were up about 1,250, or I guess 49, but for the first 9 months, as well as the fatality rate that. Let me scroll back up to this real quick while we're on this screen. That the national average is went from a 1.1 to 1.35 on that fatality rate. So yeah, this is a trend that all of our partners across the nation are dealing with and looking at and trying to make sense of and look at the data to try and understand and how we move forward and educate or make improvements in the system. So thank you. Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead, please.
It seems that in the December meeting, or in one of our recent meetings, there was a comment about COVID-19 having impact on this, and there were fewer people driving, fewer vehicles on the roads as a result of COVID. And if you drive the freeway, there's sort of a herd mentality. Most people just sort of keep up with traffic. There's always a few outliers. But if there's not as much traffic, then those who would tend to speed seem like they've got a kind of open invitation, and they put the pedal down And a lot of these accidents are speed related. At least that's my impression.
Yeah. Thank you for that comment. Any other question from Troy? Go ahead, Troy, please.
Oh, I don't have any questions.
Nagi, could I ask a question? This is
Yes. Go Evans first and then Natalie second.
Thank you. On the bicycle questions, on the fatalities, I mean, all fatalities are terrible, but those, those are really terrible. My question, are those trends, are we seeing, have we been able to analyze to see, are those caused like they've been caused in the past, or someone not seeing someone in the crosswalk, or are there different things that we're seeing happening that haven't happened in the past? Because we're trying to become more bike friendly. As we talked about yesterday, we're trying to stripe the roads and do some things with some of the dedicated bike lanes and the green, the turn. I'm just wondering, what are we seeing are those types of things that happened in the past, or are there some new trends we need to be looking at on bicycle fatalities?
Yeah. The answer to that question, we do look at the trends. I don't have the answer for you today on what those would look like. I know that our staff here is very keen on looking into every fatality and reviewing those to find out what the causes are. There could be like you mentioned, Jim, is it striping? Is it lighting? Is it intersection improvements that we need to look at? And so those trends are things that our group will be looking through and looking for it, because you're right. Anytime any fatality is too many, and we want to look at those, and that trend in the upward direction is something we're concerned about as well.
Thank you. And as we push more and more to have more opportunities for people to use their bicycles, certainly want to make sure we continue to look at ways to the trends and keeping it as safe as we can. So thank you. Thanks for that response.
You bet.
Thank you. Go ahead, Commissioner Gogner.
Thank you. Troy, I, like Donna, appreciate the sensitivity with which you present. I just wanted you to repeat the 5 things one more time. I wrote down 3 of them. I got buckle up, alert, sober. I'm missing 2.
So I'm sorry. Yeah. So drive buckled up, alert, focused, calm, and sober. And if I can, I'll share something here. It's this is on our Zero Fatalities website, and we have those all listed here. The five characteristics that we want everyone to follow. Those driving behaviors. So drive alert, drive focused, drive calm, drive sober, and drive buckled.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you.
I'll stop sharing then.
Well, thank you, Peter. Troy, thank you, Cheryl. Okay.
Thank you.
Our next item on the agenda is the public comment, number 5. As of last night, we have received 4 or 5 comments, and Eileen Barron is going to be presenting those. Good morning, Eileen. Welcome back.
Good morning. Good morning, commissioners. My name is Eileen Barron. I'm Strategic Communications Manager for our Planning and Investment Group. I'm here to report on 4 public comments that were received by email. And Ivan Hartle is going to share that so that you can follow along. These 4 comments all relate to interest in a sound wall near Bangerter Highway in Bluffdale. So I have included a summary at the top there. And then for the record, I'd like to read these 4 comments. The first one, I live in Bluffdale next to Bangerter Highway in the River Bottoms in the Sage Estates community. On behalf of all my neighbors, I would like to request a sound barrier wall be put up along Bangerter Highway in the river bottom to reduce the noise pollution from the highway. We would very much appreciate a plan budget to be put in place to accommodate the construction of the sound wall. Sincerely, Nick Baroker. The second comment. I am writing to voice my request that the Transportation Commission consider installing a sound wall on the south side of the Bangerter Bridge at approximately 1300 West. I live to the south of that bridge, and there is constant noise from the traffic passing by. There is already an existing sound wall on the north side of that bridge, so I think it should be fairly easy to add one to the south as well. Adding the sound barrier would greatly improve the enjoyment of our yards and our neighborhood. Thank you for your time, Caleb Dibert. The third comment reads, I would like to request a sound barrier wall be built on Bangerter Highway starting in the river bottoms next to the Jordan River Trail and continue to the Redwood Road exit on the south side. The sound is only getting louder and louder as traffic is continually increasing on Bangerter Highway. Additionally, there are safety concerns for traffic and local wildlife. Wildlife have fairly easy access to Bangerter Highway from the Jordan River Trail and larger open areas directly next to the highway on the south side. Please consider building a sound barrier to help the community as the sound is only increasing with growth and for the safety of the vehicles, wildlife traveling in this area. Thank you, Stephen Ames. And our last comment, I would like to add my want and need for a sound wall along Bangerter Highway in the river bottoms of Bluffdale. It is needed and wanted by many. Thank you for your time, Annalise Savage. And I'm just checking our inbox and I don't see any additional comments received at this time.
Thank you, Eileen. Thank you very much. Good to see you. Happy New Year to you.
Thank you very much.
Lisa, you have comments? Go ahead.
We'll have Region 2 take a look at those and provide some responses.
Thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda is item 6, consent agenda, and I think Ivan Harden is going to be presenting items 6 and 7 together. Ivan?
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Commission. Our first item is the consent agenda, item number 6. Included in the consent agenda packet is the December 11, 2020 Commission meeting minutes and a list of projects is in the included exhibit that have been awarded, have identified budget recovery, or is in the closeout process and have funding available to remove and reprogram. Before I state our motion request, I'd just like to roll through the meeting minutes that is included. And at the bottom of this, try not to go too fast, but not giving enough time to read. Here is the projects returning funds. Then we have 3 projects included in our consent agenda. 1 is a budget recovery and 2 in project closeout. And again, this is included in the consent packet. Our request today is a motion to approve the adjustments to the projects in the included table and approve the December 11, 2020 Commission minutes as detailed.
This is Commissioner Evans. I move for approval as been presented to us.
Commissioner Law, I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussions, corrections, additions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Okay. Any opposed? Motion carries. Proceed.
Thank you. Beginning in our programming items, our agenda item 1 is the Little Cottonwood Canyon EIS. Our table here shows 2 different projects, the Little Cottonwood Canyon Environment Impact Study, as well as the Cottonwood Canyon's Rec Hotspot. Our request today will be to transfer $1.8 million of TIF funding from the Cottonwood Canyon Rec Hotspot project and transfer into the Little Cottonwood Canyon EIS. Our current project value is shown here. The Little Cottonwood Canyon EIS project was funded from the Recreational Hotspots program to find long-term solutions to improve the safety, reliability, and mobility of SR 210. The project began in 2018 to develop alternatives to meet these goals. However, the complexity of meeting these goals while meeting the needs of local stakeholders proved to be very complex. In 2020, the project added 2 additional alternatives based on comments received. The work for these additional alternatives includes the development, design, and screening of the alternatives, additional public outreach, such as council meetings, open houses, stakeholder meetings, etc., travel demand modeling and screening for the alternatives, developing the draft and final EIS, including the record of decision, funding for in-house engineering and legal counsel, funding for the design of the high T intersections and aux lanes projects in the Cottonwood Canyon programs that were previously completed. To complete the activities listed above, it was determined that the projects will need additional funding from the Little Cottonwood Canyons Rec Hotspot project. Shown here, the map, the location. Our request today is a motion for approval to add or to transfer funds as detailed.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make that motion. It's Kevin Van Tassel.
Thank you.
This is
Barlow, second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on item number 7-A1. Any further questions, concerns? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? For the record, Commissioner Natalie Gochner was absent from the previous voting. And also she's absent from the next, she will be absent until 10:30 from this meeting. She had other commitments. She left the meeting. So that is for the record. So motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next agenda, item 2, is the US 191 realignment near Simplot. Our project is a funding addition of or a new project of 1.8 million. I'm sorry, is a funding addition of 1.8 million to the $150,000 current project value. Region 3 has been working with the Simplot mine north of Vernal along US 191 on a potential public-private partnership. Region 3 and Simplot desire to realign US 191 through the Simplot property. This realignment of US 191 will eliminate switchbacks, install safety and roadway capacity improvements, and allow Simplot to mine the phosphates under the existing US 191 alignment in the future. The project area is from milepost 364 to milepost 368. The project will result in several benefits, including safety enhancements of eliminating 5 switchbacks in the current alignment. The grade of the roadway will be reduced from approximately 8% to 5%. Improved signing, striping, shoulders, and roadside barrier. It will include capacity enhancements with an uphill truck climbing lane. Simplot will participate in much of the preparatory earthwork as part of their mining operations. This will reduce future construction costs of this realignment. Simplot will also trade the existing US 191 alignment right-of-way with the new roadway alignment right-of-way. Region 3 proposes to fund an environmental study with transportation solution funds. This study will provide engineering support to assist Simplot in their earthwork activities. Next month, UDOT plans to bring a draft memorandum of understanding to the Transportation Commission for approval to provide Simplot some assurance in moving forward with a larger project. Shown here on our map, you can see the current alignment is shown in red with an average grade of 8% versus the new alignment, the black and yellow. That's the preliminary realignment. Our request today is a motion to approve the new project to be added to the 2021 STIP as detailed.
Mr. Chairman, Kevin Van Tassel, can I speak to this?
Go ahead, please.
Thank you. This will be one of the greatest safety improvement projects that we can do for the immediate area around Vernal. It's not only the trucking community that will benefit, it'll also benefit the recreationalists and the tourists that travel this road extensively. This is one of those opportunities where we're going to have close to a $20 million commitment from a private party to change this alignment. It has some benefits for them that they'll be able to mine the existing right of way. I see this as a win-win for the state as well as for Simplot. But as we know, they're going to continue their process. So I think this is a great step, and I would move that we approve.
Thank you.
And I second. Okay, I'll third it.
Okay. Enthusiastic. Thank you. We have a motion and a second and comments from the Commissioner Van Tassel. Any further questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Again, for the record, Commissioner Gardner is absent from the voting on this item. Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 3 is Old Highway 91 from 200 East to Chigwitz, down in the Washington County area. The Dixie MPO partially funded the Old Highway 91 project in a previous STIP year, and the local government adjusted the scope of the project to match the reduced funding. After evaluating new and existing projects within the Dixie MPO area, it was determined that the MPO would fund the project to the original scope using their federal program funds. This project adjustment was presented and approved by the Dixie Transportation Executive Committee meeting on December 16th of 2020. Map shown here. Our request today is a motion to add funding to the Old Highway 91 improvement project as detailed.
Before you vote, I would like to also, for the record, let you know that I am the voting member of this Dixie MPO, and I have previewed this particular project and then voted for that in favor. So that's my record. Go ahead, please.
This is Donna. I'll move to approve.
Okay.
Second, Commissioner Kramer.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second on this particular item, number 3. Any questions, concerns? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Again, noted that Natalie Gardner is absent from this voting on item number 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last item, agenda item number 4, is the I-15 over East Nichols Canyon Road. Is a funding addition, $2 million to the existing $8.5 million project value. This project is currently scoped to replace these two structures carrying I-15 northbound and southbound respectively over Nichols Canyon Road in Cedar City. During the design, it was discovered the originally anticipated bridge foundation type and construction approach would not be feasible due to the types of soils in this location. As a result, additional funding is needed for deep foundation or driven piles and the associated traffic shifts and temporary paving during construction. Shown here north of Cedar City on I-15. Our request today is a motion for approval to add funds to the I-15 over East Nichols Canyon Road as detailed.
Mr. Chair, I'll make this motion.
Thank you.
Barlow, second.
Thank you. Any other further questions and answers on this particular one? Rick Torgerson, are you available to make any extra comments if needed? Please.
Yes, I am.
Go ahead, please. Do you have anything updated on this one you want to share?
Just, part of the cost increase is obviously the deep piles that we talked about with collapsible soils in the Cedar City area that we found from our geotech report when we're out there doing the investigation for the design. And then also, we're requiring 2 lanes of traffic on I-15 to stay open the entire time. So it'll be a kind of an interesting project where we'll build the median structures, and then we'll move northbound onto the median bridge, build the new northbound structure, and then on the southbound side, we will then slide to the median bridge in place after we remove the southbound bridge. So there'll be a slide component, and this will leave the substructure in place in the median for future bridge widening when the freeway needs to go to 3 lanes both direction in the Cedar City area. So really maintenance of traffic design that they came up with that supports the future as well.
Thank you. Any question from Rick? Now you know why the extra money needed for that, because really it's extra projects and coming online. So all
I
in
should
favor,
have,
go ahead, please, Donna.
I should have mentioned that I talked with Rick this morning because I had similar questions, and I just appreciate the time that staff, regardless of where they are in the UDOT structure, takes time to help us understand, so that when we're spending public monies this way, we really understand the need and the value that we're getting out of the investment.
Thank you, Donna.
Is this just south of where that Love's truck stop is there? Kind of, I'm trying to visualize where this is. Okay.
Yeah, it's the old North Cedar interchange. You know, it's probably almost 20 years ago. We moved it to the location where Love's is at now, but these are the two bridges where the old North Cedar interchange was at. So
thank you.
That local road connection between SR 30 and then all the development on the west side of I-15.
Thanks.
All in favor of this item number 4 in your agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with Commissioner Gardner being absent. Thank you. Thank you, Ivan. Did a good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 8 in your agenda is corridor preservation. And we have Charles Stormont standing by to present that. There's only one item with a little bit of explanation. Charles?
Good morning, Commissioners. Are you able to see my screen and hear me okay?
Yes, except it's flashing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Love the strobe light effect.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Got
did
it.
Okay.
Works.
I wonder if my internet connection is a little slow.
It's stable now.
Okay, great. Very quickly, we'll go through the status of the Martyr Del Rey Corridor Preservation Fund. We have a balance forward of just over 9.9 million, revenue of just over $560,000. Again, glad to see that the vehicle rental tax revenue seems to be coming back up after some pandemic slowdowns. Expenses continue to be what we're accustomed to seeing. We do occasionally have a little bit higher expense when our property manager demolishes a structure or we've got to put a new roof on. We've had a little of that going on, particularly up in Clinton. So the expenses are a little higher than normal, but nothing out of the ordinary. So expenses just over 70,000. We've closed with Miss Shioji up on SR 37 in Clinton. We have a little over $6 million committed, but not yet dispersed. One of those items we'll talk about today. If you factor that in, the net balance of the available funds is just a little over 4.2 million. The item we will talk about today is increasing value on a previously approved item, which if that increase is approved, the net balance would be over $3.6 million. The fund continues to be a little bit stressed. We have a lot of demands on this fund, and we're working really hard with all of the regions to make sure we're prioritizing how we spend these and trying to find creative ways to move deals forward. But it's, you know, balancing the budget is always an interesting process. And I'm happy to take any questions you might have on the fund balance.
Donna, you have a comment?
Nope.
Okay. Go ahead, Charles.
All right. We'll move into the agenda item. This is a request that was previously approved by the commission back in November of 2018. I'm going to move down into the map to hopefully fix the zoom to give you a little better sense. This property is located at roughly 2700 East along SR 73 in Eagle Mountain. It's vacant land owned by an entity known as RCA 68, or the Allred family. They own approximately 41 acres. roughly 18 of which we need for the future alignment of the SR 73 project. As I noted, you have previously approved this acquisition in 2018 at an appraised value of 1.482 million, or 78,000 per acre. At the time, we thought we needed 19 acres. You'll notice this 1 acre parcel here. As we moved forward with the acquisition, our right-of-way folks in Region 3 uncovered that we had actually already purchased that 1 acre. That led to a fairly complicated title and survey research project that took considerable time to complete. We were able to get all of that work done, but not until just last month. Given the time that has passed and the change in expected acreage, the landowner said, we're not willing to move forward unless we get an updated appraisal. Our good friend Diane McGuire has proceeded with that, and the updated appraisal now has a value of $2,047,500, which is roughly $114,000 per acre, which would reflect an increase over the previously approved amount of $565,500. Even though we're reducing the acreage slightly, land values are continue to inflate. I will say the advisory council has approved this. One question that came up during our discussion was, did the landowner stall this, or was this really on us? And I can safely say that this was UDOT was the cause of the delay. And this is not something that the landowner has caused to happen to try and increase what they're able to obtain. They've actually been working with us and very patient with us. But our request today would be to increase the previously approved amount by $565,500 for a total of $2,047,500 to acquire this approximately 17 acres from the Allred or RCA 68 entity.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve this.
Okay, thank you.
Kramer seconds.
Thank you. Question, Donna, go ahead. You have a question?
No question.
Charles, I have one question. In the agreements that we had previously, if the offer was presented and accepted by both parties, do they have an escalation clause that they will give the opportunity or the right for the seller to come back and ask for the appraisal or update?
No, this is one of those places where, because we're government, we have to operate a little bit differently. We can't go under contract until I've received your approval to proceed. And so there's a little bit of a dance that Diane is very good at in terms of discussion, contingent offers, running through our advisory council and then the commission approval process, at which point Diane proceeds with a formal offer and we get a signed agreement. So up to this point, we haven't signed any agreements. I don't want to presume you will approve anything until we've run through this process. And so we don't even have an agreement with the Allred family. It's a little bit of a handshake. We explain, all the approvals that are required, and they understand that. This one just got very complicated as we dug into the title work, trying to prepare the deeds for the transaction. That took considerable time to resolve.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion and a second on this particular item number 8. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Again, Commissioner Gardner is absent from this voting, but is approved. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
as a member of the Corridor Preservation, Commissioner Barlow and I certainly again want to express our appreciation to Charles and his staff for their great work on this. You can see the value of doing this in advance, and they've always been so good at doing that and doing it efficiently and friendly to the taxpayer.
Right.
So well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Charles, before you go, I have another related maybe question. On the latest legislative meetings, they had a property acquisition amendment. Will that affect your operation and your department? How is going to be affecting that?
That one has not hit my desk yet, so I'm not familiar with it. I suspect our government affairs director Linda Hall will send that to me soon. So I apologize. After I've had a chance to review it, though, I'm happy to reach out.
We'll wait for the next month then. Thank you.
Okay.
So, well, at this point, I have to ask Terry and Lisa if we have anything that you need to discuss, because we have kind of reviewed everything we have on the agenda before I get to the commission reports. Anything that you would like to share with us, Lisa or Terry, if you're still with us?
We of course are still here.
Okay.
Well, I would just like to let the commission know we've got the programming workshop coming up. We talked about that a little bit yesterday, and it appears that we will be doing that virtually. And so we'll work really hard to make that a riveting discussion. I know those can get to be rather long meetings, and it can be a little bit difficult to continually look at charts and graphs and lists and spreadsheet when we're virtual, but we'll try to make sure that we can present that in a way that it's easy to digest. And so anyway, looking forward to those discussions, but we'll try to make those meetings be as helpful as we can.
Thank you, Terry. Lisa?
No, I don't have anything to add today. Thank you.
This item of the agenda on the information items, which is number 9, ask for the commission reports. Any of you have attended your meetings, your committee meetings, would like to share with us anything? Otherwise, you don't have the obligation to do so. But if you would like to, you have the floor. I go with the Commissioner Barlow first. Unmute yourself.
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Commissioner Kramer?
Just again, additionally, grateful for the work of the Corridor Preservation Group that Wayne and I serve on. Thank you. It's fun to see this planning out so far in advance, and again, we're the only state in America, I think, still that has a way to pay for this in advance through our motor vehicle tax. So smart state we are.
We are. Yeah, let's pat on the shoulder. Thank you. Commissioner Law?
I have nothing to report.
Thank you. Commissioner Evans?
Nothing between December and now. Looking forward to a new year. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Van Tassel?
Thank you. Nothing major to report. I had joined the meeting prior to our operations or our staff update. The communities on the trans are actively meeting. I'm sure they'll be bringing forth their projects to us soon.
Okay. Thank you. And I attended my meetings of the Community Impact Board. They had all sewer and water projects, all 5 of them. We also had the infrastructure project for the city of Richfield. They would like to update their water plans and complete the city. And we're going to have next month is the funding for all the projects have been approved since last October. And also attended Dixie MPO meeting, which I'm the voting member. And in that particular one, we had a few good news to share, but I'm going to share with you. One was the approval of the Northern Corridor, or the BLM. So we have received the tentative approval on that. That the REC and the Region 4, along with the leadership, will work on some kind of details and bring before the commission. Another item of the good news was the Zion National Park received the grant to get electric car buses for the park, which is a good news. They were anticipating this for a long time. And if you want to put in your calendar, for the first time, we're going to have the Dixie Transportation Expo virtually, and that's going to be the February 9th. So if you want to sign up, you can sign up dixietransportationexpo.org if you want to be part of our meetings that particular day. Then the next meeting of the commission will be the next month, February 18 through 19. So we have a staff meeting first on Thursday and the commission meeting on Friday. And I'm pretty sure we're going to have a virtual at this point. So Anything before commission, anything at all that you would like to discuss, we call and ask for the adjournment. So with a short and sweet agenda, we miss Carlos. We had some meetings beforehand today, other commitments. And also Commissioner Gardner, she has other commitments as she mentioned. So, but you all do a wonderful job. Thank you for your service. Thank you, every one of the UDOT families listening to my voice, all the commissioners, mayors, city managers, public work directors. We love you. Keep up the good work. 2021 is going to be the awesome year. With the money that I've been promised this morning, we're going to continue with the projects, and UDOT has done a marvelous job. None of the projects has been stopped at all. Full force ahead with the leadership we have in place, with the Lisa joining us. It's going to be a great year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excellent.
Thank you. So if the last item of the agenda is the motion to adjourn, if you don't mind, I would like to have that before we go.
I'll move.
There you go. There's no debate on that motion. Thank you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. See you next time. Thank you.
Great to see you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Drive calm.